नाम गान कालावसानिकृतं निद्राहार विहार कादि विदितं चत्तन्तौ दीनौ चजं Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna, glories to Śrīla Prabhupāda, and welcome everyone to Sunday morning Bhagavatam class from the original Delhi Bhagavatams, which we recently conducted a GoFundMe campaign, which was successfully completed by the grace of all of you. And we want to thank each and every one of you for participating in this service to reprint the Delhi Bhagavatams for Śrīla Prabhupāda for their distribution worldwide through our network of branch offices and devotees committed to preserving Prabhupada's legacy for the future. And these days, there are so many opinions about different matters that exist, whether it's political, whether it's spiritual, there are always opinions. But the devotees of Lord Chaitanya do not operate on the basis of opinion. No, we don't. We operate on the basis of fact. So fact and opinion, Prabhupada explained to us, is different because a fact is something that is coming from Krishna and from Guru. So we do not have opinion. We simply repeat what we hear from our spiritual master and what we've heard through him in regards to Krishna. And that is fact, not opinion. I call it the garbage dump of opinion. It's just like newspaper, Vijaya Pandit. What do you do with a newspaper at the end of the day? You throw it in the garbage. So opinion, everyone has an opinion, but it's not necessarily correct. But a fact, which is based on Guru and Shastra, this is something we can accept. And so we move forward on the basis of facts, that Prabhupada is the bona fide spiritual master in the disciplic succession from Lord Krishna. And it's interesting to note I'm now undertaking the restudy of the Bhagavad Gita. Quite inspiring, actually, to read the introduction. And it's interesting to note that at the end of the introduction, there is the list of the disciplic succession of the Parampara. And it comes down from Lord Krishna to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada, and then to A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda. And I was thinking to myself, oh, all these new gurus that have been created, I wonder how they're going to fit all their names on that page, providing they stay fixed. I believe out of 150 people that have been elected to that position, over 55 have fallen down or abandoned their position and gone back to being karmis. And this is an indication of the situation that we're currently in. I was speaking to a devotee in Germany this morning, and he was giving me his opinion that the movement is completely finished. No, it isn't. Actually, the movement, Prabhupada's mission, is completely alive. And it is progressing forward with the devotees that are committed to protecting his legacy. It's progressing forward with them, which we call bona fide disciples. So not all is lost. I'm going to give a simple explanation. I'll try to move forward carefully. Watching the time, I've been mentioning Bhaktajad that recently they are renovating the pipe system to the street next to us in Hamilton. It's about half a kilometer long. Now, I've been going on my japa walks every morning to around the block. I walk around a few blocks in the neighborhood. My neighbors all see me now after years of doing this. They kind of figured it out, without me saying anything. They could see I've got my japa bag and I'm pretty much concentrating on my beads and the mantra. But I'm watching this street and, being involved in all kinds of businesses throughout my life, I'm very curious to see how they're able to achieve this project. Because even when you maintain a house, there's so many things that you have to do to maintain a house, like a new roof. When I got my new roof, I had to search around and get all kinds of quotes, and then the type of materials, and then different aspects of the restoration or the installation of a new furnace and a new hot water heater. Now that is nothing compared to the renovation of the street next to me. They have all this equipment and backhoes and trucks and loads of material and stone and concrete and pipes, and they're also having to do intermediate steps for the houses so they still maintain water. They have to rebuild the road, put in the new curbs. And I was speaking to one of the fellows on the crew, and he was saying to me, oh, we'll have it done very soon and it'll be all brand new. I thought, geez. And as I watch it progressing day by day, it is becoming brand new. Even just putting up the curbs for 200 or 300 feet is a big job. But for them, not that big of a job, and they have the capacity to do it. And they have the teamwork. Oh yes, they have the people. And I thought to myself, they've got a team of engineers. Actually, I thought to myself, oh, Prabhupada said, oh, you should never think you're the chief engineer. I was thinking about, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be some sort of an engineer. And I thought, well, I'm the servant of the chief engineer. That's what Prabhupada told me. The more you become the servant of the chief engineer, the greater you become. So I thought, oh, we have a teamwork, yes. They're rebuilding a sewer line at the next street, can we rebuild the mission of Śrīla Prabhupada? And the answer is yes, we can. If they can do that, and that's a small job, they recognize it, it's a big job, then we also have a job to rebuild the legacy, and that's what we're moving forward with. And we have, this Prabhu in Germany was mentioning, oh, it's finished. We don't have no money. Of course, he lives on welfare, so he doesn't know how to make money. So he has no idea of how to do it. And he's never been a CEO or a leader of anything except himself, which is good. I mean, it's better than nothing. But for us who are in a position to work together in a team-like fashion, there are so many things we can do. I'm going to give you an idea, book printing. We are planning, of course, to reprint the Bhagavatams, the Delhi version. And along with that, hopefully, in the future, other Prabhupada books for distribution in our network, because we are also planning to open branch offices. We're actually doing it. We're not planning it, but we're doing it. And we have over 18 locations set up as branch offices for distribution of books and for a contact for individuals in your area that are interested in Krishna consciousness. We have online social media programs. For example, our Prabhupada Disciples Association has grown past 20,000 members now on the Prabhupada group page, 20,000. And we get over 100,000 views a month of our posts from various devotees that are putting these posts up of truth, not opinion. We have a newsletter that we're publishing, an extensive newsletter that we're doing, and we're working on that. We have website development. We have elaborate website development that's been going on with the help of our membership. We're planning a global headquarters. Yes, we're looking at one, where the Prabhupada Disciples Association, Hare Krishna Society, will be able to organize itself from that headquarters to build our database. Database development is very important. Database development. To reach out to tens of thousands of people on a regular basis. And this goes on in all groups and religions, etc. Because marketing and advertising a concept or a program in life is vital to its success. And so we as a brain trust, all of us as a group, will work towards building our database, rebuilding the mission. We want to open up printing of different books. We have an interest. I was looking at Jad's email on the French Bhagavad Gita, and he was explaining to us how it's a fiasco, and it was critical that this Bhagavad Gita be printed. There it is. Is that it there, Prabhu? Yeah. It's just a sad state of affairs. Yes. So there's the two, if you could see him holding them up. And Bhakti Jad's 27. Congratulations to this Prabhu who's taken up the mission. So we want to do something in Italy with Vijaya Pandit as well. We want to support that growth. We also want to work with Krishna Kishore and we've been to Mexico and work with him in helping him with his printing press and the publication and distribution of books, original books in Spanish, very valuable. And of course, in English. These are our plans. You know, we're thinking anyway. We're planning, because that's the first stage. You have to plan, then you have to act. Actions speak louder than words, of course. We're looking at setting up a financing program through estate planning, memberships, sponsorship, and GoFundMe programs to give us the Lakshmi that's necessary from our groups to push on this mission with great strength and determination and power. Oh yes, we will. I know some of us have done different things in our life, and we know that it's important to have three things, as Prabhupada explains, to make a program successful. You need the concept, or the land, the labor, and the capital. You combine those perfectly, and then you've got that is a thing that you have to do as a group, is come together with these three things: land, labor, and capital. And thank you, Ms. Penny Shaw, for that's your wheelhouse. We will, of course, love to speak to you about assisting us in planning that, because eventually all of us will die, and the money we've accumulated, what will we do with it? What will you do with it? If you have, say, $1 million in your estate, or some of us more than $1 million, do you want to leave your money just to your kids? Is that what your plan is? This is not a good way to see yourself in the future, especially when you're gone. So the Hare Krishna Society, our charity, is there as an organization that we're working on building and building and building, which will need financing and the facility to spread this Krishna consciousness movement with our wonderful membership that we have of Prabhupada Disciples Association. I'm sorry, Yaśodā, for carrying on. I sent my Prabhu Yaśodā a recent message from Bhagawan. Govinda Dasi put a post up today, if you see it online, and I did respond to it. And I mentioned him because he referred to where he used to serve as my zone. My zone? It belongs to you, sir. You left the movement 20 years ago. You've been up and down like a yo-yo in the material world, and now it's your zone again? That Prabhupada called you to see him because you're a senior devotee? Okay. That's his opinion, and he's entitled to that. He said to me, how come you're not a guru? Guru? What, you want me to put my name there, Diksha Guru, successor to A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami? Is that what you were going to do? Former guru, and it said in, what was it, that video, Paradise, the video that just came out, that series, Peacock Films on the history, and then it put his name up, former guru. This is just complete. The material world, everyone, is insane. What does it mean? 99% of the people are crazy. And even in the society that we were former members of, a lot of these people have gone cuckoo. So it's very unfortunate. But at the same time, we're not going to preoccupy ourselves with that. We are more concerned about pushing forward our group and its agenda as we move into the future and prepare for leaving this body through bhakti yoga, devotional service, Krishna Katha. It is through devotional service to the mission of Śrīla Prabhupāda and his eternal legacy that we are all committed to, without any confusion. So I guess that's all I want to say about that. And we're going to read just quickly from the diary. It's these diary readings do give us a lot of insight into how Prabhupada was launching his mission. And this press release was written by Hayagriva, Howard Wheeler, and it was done on October 11th, 1966. So Prabhupada's engaging Howard Wheeler in service. He was a writer, and he ended up working. He was a professor at the university. So he was moving forward, trying to help Prabhupada spread the mission. So he's summarizing what Prabhupada is doing, and we'll get some insight from how he's articulating this press release to the media in New York City, and see what we can extract out of it for our own work. Gentlemen, so it's attention radio and television stations, newspapers and magazines in New York City. Gentlemen, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness is a recently formed group of New Yorkers, mostly in their 20s, who are interested in Indian philosophy and religion. Swami A.C. Bhaktivedanta, India's leading personalist, eminent scholar, philosopher, and devotee of Lord Krishna, God, is teaching the science of God through his lectures on the Bhagavad Gita, the Bible of Hinduism, and through kirtan, group singing and chanting of the holy name of God. The devotees of the Swami feel that his greatest contribution, aside from his presence, is his introducing kirtan to Americans. Kirtan is very catchy. Yes, actually, the Beatles got a hold of the early records, and they would listen to them constantly. Drums, cymbals, harmonium, tempura, voices, and other instruments are used in addition to dancing. Krishna consciousness is a cross between Eastern mysticism and the sound and fury of Western revivalism. The time has come to broadcast by radio, television, newspapers, and magazines, both, the message of the Gita and kirtan, singing, chanting, and dancing. Perhaps it would be possible for radio and television stations to sponsor some time for kirtan and a talk by Swami Bhaktivedanta. We have held kirtans in New York City parks, which have been successful, as you can see by the enclosed reprint from October 10th, New York Times. We will be holding another kirtan in Tompkins Square Park next Sunday, October 16th. And here extend an invitation to all New York City, invitations to all New York City radio, television, newspaper, and magazine concerns. It is necessary to reach a wider audience. With the current interest in spiritualism in America, your listeners, viewers, and readers would be especially interested, and would consider this a bold and different step that would be a blessing for all connected. After all, communications must be used to shout the good news of God and the universe to all people. This transcendental kirtan is also an answer to LSD, which the government is now trying to suppress. We succeed in interesting researchers for this transcendental experience without artificial aid of drugs. Krishna Kirtan is not sectarian, is neither occult nor difficult. Chanting Hare Krishna mantra on the Allenberg TV show, and the whole program was suddenly spiritualized and transformed. We must offer this on a wider scale. Only by becoming more God conscious can real peace in the world be attained. We thank you for your suggestions and welcome you to the park and Avenue A and 7th Street, Sunday, October 16th. Sincerely, Howard Wheeler, Hayagriva. So, promoting, advertising Krishna consciousness is one of the keys, especially our position to protect the legacy of Śrīla Prabhupada in his original books, in his lectures, in his kirtans, and in his process is our mission. And we have to broadcast it constantly to everyone we meet. This is our duty as devotees of the Sankirtan movement of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So let's move forward with the chanting of Jaya Radha Madhava, and then a wonderful discussion and reading with Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu on the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam from the original unedited Delhi Bhagavatams.
Sai. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. 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 Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai, Namacharya Śrīla Haridas Thakur ki jai, Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Sri Radha Krishna Gaur Gopinath Sam Kund Radha Kund Girivardhan ki jai, Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Navadvip Dham ki jai, Swami Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Ganga Mai ki jai, Jamuna Mai ki jai, Tulasi Devi ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Swami Bhaktivinoda ki jai. All glories to the assembled Lord. All glories to the assembled Lord. Thank you very much.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord, Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Narayanam namaskritya. Narayanam namaskritya. Naram cheva narottamam. Naram cheva narottamam. Devim saraswatim vyasam. Devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayat. Tato jayam mudirayat. One should utter the means of conquest, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, after offering respectful obeisances, 1. To the personality of Godhead, Narayana, 2. To the Nara-Narayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being, 3. To the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, then 4. To Śrīla Vyāsadeva, the author, from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 1-4. Welcome everyone to this reading and discussion on Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, described by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as the topmost literature, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Pramanamamalam. It's very important. Every week we read a few selected verses from the first canto, second chapter, which explains the meaning and the transcendental benefits of hearing this great, powerful literature. From Canto 1, Chapter 2, Bhakti Rupesh Prabhu, thank you. Move up one verse. Move up one verse, please. No. Yes. Shushrushoho Shraddadhanasya Vasudeva Kataruchihi Syanmahat Sevaya Vipra Punyatirtha Nishevanat. O the twice-born sages, by serving those devotees who are completely freed from all ranges of vice, a standard of great service is done. And as the result of such great service, affinity in the messages of Vasudeva is made possible. Next. Text number 17. Srinvatam svakataha Krishnaha punyashravana kirtanaha hridyantasto hyabhadrani vidhunoti suritsatam. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is also the Paramatma in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, does cleanse the desire for material enjoyment in the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge for hearing his, Krishna's messages, which are themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. Nashtaprayeshu babhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. By regular attendance in the Bhagavatam class or rendering service unto the pure devotees, all that is inauspicious in the heart of a candidate becomes destroyed almost to nil, and thus loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, comes into being, an irrevocable fact. Tadara Jastamo Baba Kamalobha Dayaschaye Chetayetera Naviddam Stitam Sattve Prasidati. As soon as irrevocable loving service is fixed up in one's heart, at that time the effects of the nature's mode of passion and ignorance, such as lust, desire and hankerings, etc., do disappear from one's heart, and he becomes fixed up in the mode of goodness, which makes him completely happy. Evam prasanna manaso Bhagavad Bhakti Yogataha Bhagavad Tattva Vijnanam Mukta Sangasya Jayati. Thus, when one is positively fixed up in a mode of unalloyed goodness, the enlivened-minded man affected by contact of devotional service of the Lord can positively know scientific knowledge of the personality of Godhead in the stage of liberation from all material association. Again, welcome everyone to this reading and discussion, sometimes termed as a class, on the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. We're very happy to have some of our friends from Italy, Vijay Pandit, and some of his friends, his good wife Gopika. I believe that is Chaturbhuja and his good wife there. Hare Krishna, Komeva, Komeva. And also we have a very special guest today, Penny Shah, Srimati, I don't know her spiritual name, but she is very welcome to the program, along with everyone that participates.
Pran Mohini.
Oh, Madan Mohini. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Pran Mohini.
Pran Mohini Mataji. Hare Krishna. Very nice to have you there. So we will go on, move forward with our reading. Today we are reading from Canto 1, Chapter 5, text number 20. I realize that we have a certain limitation with time because we have many individuals who would like to make comments during the last section of our program. So I'll try to go swiftly and proceed as quickly as possible, not to impede the flow, as well as the wonderful participation of all the devotees. Text number 20. Idam hi Vishwan Bhagav. Text number 20. 18? Okay. Hold on here. Tasya eva etu prayatita kovido nalabhyate yad brahmatam paryada talabhyate dukkavadanyata sukam kalena sarvatra gabiraram hasa. Tasya, for that purpose, eva only, hetu reason, prayateta should endeavor, kovido one who is philosophically inclined, na not, labhyate is not obtained, yad what, brahmatam wandering, uparyadha from top to toe, tat that, labhyate can be obtained, dukkavad like the miseries, anyataha as a result of previous work, sukham sense enjoyment, kalena in course of time, sarvatra everywhere, gabira subtle, ramhasa progress. Translation by Śrīla Prabhupāda. Persons who are actually intelligent and philosophically inclined should endeavor only for that purposeful end which is not obtainable, wandering even from the topmost planet, Brahmaloka, down to the lowest planet, Patalaloka. So far happiness derived from sense enjoyment is concerned, it can be obtained automatically in course of time as we obtain progressively miseries, even though we do not desire them. Purport by His Divine Grace, Śrīla Prabhupāda. Every man everywhere is trying to obtain the greatest amount of sense enjoyment by various endeavors. Some of them are busy engaged in trade, industry, economic development, political supremacy, etc. And some of them are engaged in the fruitive work for becoming happy in the next life by obtaining the different planets of greater happiness. It is said that in the moon planet, the inhabitants are fit for greater sense enjoyment by drinking somarasa, and the Pitriloka is obtained by good charitable work. So there are various programs of sense enjoyment by drinking, either during this life or in the life after death. Some of them are trying to reach the moon planet, or for the matter of that, other planets also. During this life, by some mechanical arrangement, as they are very much anxious to get into such planets without any good work. But it is not to happen. By the law of the Supreme, different places are meant for different grades of living. By the law of the Supreme, different places are meant for different grades of living beings according to the work they might have performed. By good work only, as they are prescribed in the scriptures, one can obtain birth in a good family, can obtain opulence, can obtain good education, and can obtain good bodily futures. As we see also even in this life that one obtains good education or good financial condition by good bodily endeavor. Similarly, in our next birth, we get such desirable positions only by good work. Otherwise, it would not so happen that two persons born in the same place at the same time are seen differently placed according to previous work. But all such material positions are not permanent. The position in the topmost Brahmaloka and that in the lowest Patala are also changeable according to our own work. The philosophically inclined, intelligent person must therefore be not wildered away by such changeable position. He should try to get into the permanent life of bliss and knowledge without being forced to come back again in the miserable material world, either in this or that planet. Miseries and mixed happiness are two features of material life, and they are obtained both in the Brahmaloka or in other loka also. They are obtained in the life of the demigods, as also in the life of the dogs and hogs. The miseries and mixed happiness of all such living beings are only of different degrees and quality, but nobody is free from the miseries of birth, death, old age, and diseases. Similarly, everyone has his destined happiness also. Nobody can get more or less of these things simply by personal endeavors, and even they are so obtained, they are changeable again. One should not therefore waste time for these flimsy things, but one should only endeavor for going back to Godhead, and that should be the mission of everyone's life. Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyaya Bhaktivedanta Namine Prasannaya Prashantaya Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Bhagavad Vandanam Kadhyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sharkara Yuktam Kadatihi Visheshataha Adadana Strinam Danter Idam Yachi Punaha Punaha Srimad Rupa Padam Bhoja Dhulishyam Janma Janmani Amsho Bhagavato Smyaham Sadadaso Asmi Sarabata Tat Kripa Pikshako Nityam Tat Prishta Satkaromisvam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. There's some very important points that are being raised by Śrīla Prabhupāda here. The foremost point is that in this material world, no one, irregardless of their position, can live permanently. It doesn't matter how exalted one may be. It does not matter how wealthy one may be. It doesn't matter how intelligent one may be. If one is in this material world with a material body, at some point there will be suffering. At some point there will be misery and death. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. Jara mrityu jara vyadi, janma mrityu jara vyadi, dukkha dosha anudarshanam. According to Śrīla Prabhupada, intelligence is measured by one's ability to understand. It's called dosha, the fault of birth, death, old age, and disease. A very nice devotee recently sent me a little clip of Śrīla Prabhupada preaching. And Prabhupada is really preaching very strongly on this point. Why you're accepting death? Why are you accepting old age? Why you're accepting disease? Why you're accepting rebirth? All these miseries are there, irrelevant of where one may be born, whether one is born rich or poor, whether one is beautiful or ugly, whether one is intelligent, not intelligent, or a genius. That is completely irrelevant. According to the Bhagavad Gita and Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, according to our previous karma in a previous life, we get this body. But one has to intelligently use the asset of this body and this intelligence to become free from the cycle of birth and death. This is a very important point. We once had a program at the house of a very wealthy Gujarati man. This man was a billionaire, very, very wealthy person. They were eating on silver dishes with gold spoons, gold bowls, with servants and so many things. The wives had enough gold and enough bangles on their arms, probably with more money than you see in your entire lifetime, 24-karat gold. So much wealth. So we had a discussion with this gentleman, and we asked him, why you're worshiping Krishna? They were worshiping Ladu Gopal. It's a form of Krishna as a baby who is eating a ladu, very popular amongst Gujaratis and Marwaris. So yes, oh, we do the puja so we can go to Svarga, so we can have long duration of life and enjoy. So he is thinking that he will be promoted because according to the Vedas and Puranas, there are so many different forms of worship, and one can be promoted to higher planets. Śrīla Prabhupada dealt with this very nicely in his little booklet, Easy Journey to Other Planets, where he explains the process in this life, how one can practice to be transferred back to the supreme planet, Goloka Vrindavan, Vaikuntha. So this individual was thinking, if I get promoted to the higher planets and live for a long time with a higher standard of enjoyment, that'll be very nice. And when we pointed out to him that it is best to be promoted to Krishna planet, because then you don't have to come back here and suffer. Oh, he did not want to hear this. He became upset. Oh, why you're saying like this? I want to go to Svarg. Svarg referred to the higher planetary systems, where very long duration of life, where the women are supposed to be thousands of times more beautiful than any women on this planet, where they're not so much affected by the miseries of the material world, but still ultimately they will die. It is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Kshinye punye martyalokam vishanti, that when the results of their pious activities, of their punya, is exhausted, they have to come back here again. So what is accomplished? Because we know from Bhagavad Gita, there are so many instructions from Krishna himself, that even if you have the duration of life of Brahma, which is said to be 311 trillion years and so many millions of years, very long duration, still nothing is permanent in the material world. That's why Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, intelligent person, dukkha dosha, to see the fault, the misery, to see this, anudarshana, means to intelligently analyze. To intelligently analyze, why should I stay in this place of misery? Why not get promoted to a place where there's no misery? Everyone is trying to make plans. It's like today we have the good fortune of having Mohan Mohini Mataji or Madan Mohan Mataji. She's said to be expert with wills and trust and estates. And she knows that so many people are trying to make arrangements to perpetuate the wealth after they depart. But people sometimes will make foolish arrangements. They will donate money to preserve their dogs or their cats. They will sometimes have so many whimsical wishes, unrealistic wishes. And we see this. This is the fault in the material world. Last year, I had to drive a relative to an hospital. And there was a lady in the lobby who was screaming at the nurse, oh, I don't want to die, I don't want to die, I don't want to die, make sure I don't die. And the nurse was trying to console this person, you will not die here today, you will not die, you will be okay. But this is the desire of everyone. Nobody wants to die, even an ant. Even an ant, if you try to push it with a stick, it will try to go away. Every living being is trying to preserve life, or prolong life as long as they can. But nobody can live here forever. Nobody can live here forever. There was a famous joke that Prabhupada was relating. One atheistic lady was telling her son was telling the lady, why don't you chant Hare Krishna? And she says, can't. They can say can't, but they will not say Hare Krishna. Because this is the disease in the material world. Everyone is trying to stay here, to prolong life here. The entire medical industry, pharmaceutical industry, insurance industry promotes this illusion. We have this pill, we've got this special potion, we've got this special lotions, we've got this special injection to protect you. Well, that's very nice. You can do whatever you like, but ultimately, you will have to die. So how do you prevent that? That science of the soul, Atma Tattva, this is how to prevent that. That knowledge. We see in the Bhagavad Gita, one of Krishna's first instruction, Dhirastatra namuhyati. One who is a dhira, a sober, self-realized person, he is not bewildered by the change of body because he understands by hearing from proper bona fide authorities, he understands the facts that you will not live forever in this life trying to make as much spiritual advancement as you can to go back home, back to Godhead. And even if one does not complete, we've seen in these pages last week, this text number 17, where it discusses, Prabhupada says, it so happens sometimes that one surrenders himself unto the service of the Lord. This is text number 17, first paragraph in the purport. By some temporary sentiment. And in the long run, due to so many reasons, he falls down from the path of service by undesirable association. And there are so many instances in the histories. And then Prabhupada goes on to describe various examples. But Prabhupada goes further. Once engaged in the devotional service of the Lord, it is enough for one's continuing the service at all circumstances. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that even a small quantity of devotional service can save one from the most dangerous position. There are many instances in the histories of such examples. Ajamil is one of them. So the point, what is Prabhupada saying here? The greatest danger is to fall back into an animal form of life where one will not get the chance or the intelligence, the body, to basically hear Bhagavad Gita, hear Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, and purify his existence. That is the greatest danger. But if one continues the process of devotional service, even if one does not perfect it, then Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Suchinam Sriyatam Gete Yoga Brashtu Abhijayate. That one can take birth, will take birth in a wealthy family or in a family of Suchis or Brahmanas, by which he'll be able to continue in progress on the path of spiritual life. But Prabhupada advises, try to finish in this life, tries to complete in this life, do as much service as you can. Follow the principles, do the chanting, and in this way, one can go back to Godhead. I mean, there are numerous examples of some devotees. I was told that one Mother Gauri, who was a very exalted soul, who used to go on book distribution every day of her life, when she departed her body, she was hearing the Maha Mantra, she had Genji's water and tilak and tulsi, very exalted person. You can see a person like that went back home, back to Godhead. The example of Jayananda, whom Prabhupada confirmed, went back to Godhead because he was hearing the Maha Mantra. The example of Sudama, Prabhupada predicted Sudama would be blessed, that at the end of his life, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself would take him home, back to Godhead. And he departed in Los Angeles. He was hearing the Maha Mantra, Tulsi, Ganges water, tilak, pictures of Prabhupada, hearing the Maha Mantra, very fortunate soul. So let us pray to Śrīla Prabhupada that some way or other we can complete and render some service for his mission and go back home to back to God in this life, or else, if we're not able to complete, pray that we can come back in this movement and again trying to do some tangible service for his divine grace. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Glories to Śrīla Prabhupada. Thank you very much, Yaśodā-nandana, Prabhu, for your excellent explanation of this verse from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And I wanted to further comment on your point of how devotional service is, Prabhupada said, inexhaustible. That devotional service is eternal and on the eternal platform. And any amount of advancement in devotional service, Krishna explains in the Gita, can save us from the greatest amount of danger or fear. Actually, the greatest amount of fear or danger is not knowing what will happen to one after death. What will happen to me? Will I go to hell? Will I go to heaven? I don't know. So people live in ignorance. But if someone takes up the process of devotional service, then everything they do, Krishna remembers it. And Krishna is counting the service that you render. Prabhupada used the example of a bank account. Krishna has his bank account. Everyone that performs devotional service, Krishna is with you as Paramatma. He is aware of everything you're doing, and he is seeing how much you're committed to his process, and that is inexhaustible. It is never lost. So even if somehow or other by circumstance one does not make the grade in this lifetime, he'll come back in the future and continue his service until he eventually comes back to Godhead or goes back to Godhead, because Krishna, Bhaktijat, is more interested in us coming back to Godhead than staying here. He is our eternal friend. This is very important to understand, and we should have confidence in that with full faith and conviction. We have to accept what the Guru says, what Prabhupada says, and what Krishna says without any doubt, no doubt. This is the nature of the disciple, to accept the words of the spiritual master as absolute truth and not speculate, not give opinion, just simply hear and repeat to others. Now, I wanted to mention just quickly, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, how Prabhupada also in this verse and purport related to the moon landing, people wanting to go to the moon. So Prabhupada says here in the purport in text 18, down in the first paragraph, Rupesh, it is said that in the moon planet, the inhabitants are fit for greater sense enjoyment. Oh, okay, well, just we'll read that in a second. Actually, we'll go to that right now, and I'll just discuss it. That people want to go to the, just leave it there, Prabhu. So people want to go to the moon planet, but they can't go there because they don't have the physical body to enter into that atmosphere. And Prabhupada is categorically denying that people can go to the moon by mechanical devices. Of course, this is considered to be blasphemous to the scientists, but they are simply speculating, everyone, concocting philosophy in order to justify how to spend budgets in their treasury houses, how to waste money. And we're going to read here from the Śrīmad-Bhāgavad-gīta, text 16. Abrahma bhuvana loka punar avartunar juna mamupecha tukontiya punar janma navidyate. From the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery wherein repeated birth and death take place. So here is Krishna giving us the definitive understanding of living in the material world. In the purport, but one who attains to my abode, O Santa Kunti, never takes birth again. So purport by Śrīla Prabhupāda, all kinds of yogis, karmis, gyanis, hatha, etc., eventually have to attain devotional perfection in bhakti yoga. It all culminates in Krishna consciousness before they can go to Krishna's transcendental abode and never return. Those who attain the highest material planets or the planets of the demigods are again subjected to repeated birth and death. As persons on earth are elevated to higher planets, people in the higher planets such as Brahmaloka, Chandraloka, and Indraloka fall down to the earth. The practice of sacrifice called Pancha Nividya, recommended in the Katha Upanishad, enables one to achieve Brahmaloka. But if in Brahmaloka one does not cultivate Krishna consciousness, then he must return to the earth. Those who progress in Krishna consciousness in the higher planets are gradually elevated to higher and higher planets, and at the time of universal devastation are transferred to the eternal spiritual kingdom. When there is devastation of this material universe, Brahma and his devotees, who are constantly engaged in Krishna consciousness, are all transferred to the spiritual universe and to specific spiritual planets according to their desires. So we are very fortunate, everyone, extremely Vijaya Pandit, because we are members of Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan mission. And Lord Chaitanya, Namo Mahabharanaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Guravaste Namaha. Excuse me. This Lord Chaitanya's incarnation is delivering the highest benefit for the conditioned soul, which is love of God. And Lord Chaitanya is the Yuga avatar, the most munificent incarnation of Krishna, the most blessed for all conditioned souls. And this manifestation of him on this planet at this time is very, very rare. So, conclusion, take up this opportunity, everyone, with full enthusiasm. Do not hesitate. This very rarely happens. And somehow or other, Joe Felice in Hamilton, and Radharani in Kansas, and Rupesh in India, and Chaitanya Nrsimha now in Mexico. Somehow or other, we have got the opportunity to serve Lord Chaitanya through Śrīla Prabhupada. So let us not minimize this opportunity and waste the valuable chance that we have to go back to home, back to Godhead, through committed service to the Sankirtan mission of Śrīla Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and ultimately Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in this human form of life. This is a great opportunity, and Prabhupada, as you know, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, would always encourage us, take advantage of this opportunity because it's rarely achieved. Do not minimize the scriptures, do not minimize the spiritual master, and do not minimize his instructions. And we should try with our best effort not to waste our time. Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, please.
Yeah, you're raising some very important points. I just want to quote from one of Prabhupada's purport.
Yes.
In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 22, texts 14 and 15. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 22, texts 14 and 15. Śrīla Prabhupada explains about the exalted position of the eternally liberated associates of Krishna. Sometimes an ever-liberated personal associate of the Supreme Personality of Godhead descends into this universe just as the Lord descends. although working for the liberation of the conditioned souls, the messenger of the Supreme Lord remains untouched by the material energy. Generally, ever-liberated personalities live in the spiritual world as associates of Lord Krishna, and they are known as Krishna Parishada, associates of the Lord. Their only business is enjoying Lord Krishna's company. And even though such eternally liberated persons come within this material world to serve the Lord's purpose, they enjoy Lord Krishna's company without stoppage. So the reason we're quoting this, it's very important to understand the exalted position of someone like Śrīla Prabhupada. He's not just some ordinary sadhu who came at the right place, right time. No, we can see from his books that Prabhupada is very nicely describing. He's not telling that this is me, but we can understand from his activities, from his accomplishments, from his writings, and also that he was predicted by some of the associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself that a great personality would come. That is Śrīla Prabhupada. And Prabhupada says that although they live in the spiritual world as associates of Lord Krishna, they are known as Krishna Parishada, associates of the Lord. Prabhupada says, although working for the liberation of conditioned souls, the messenger of the Supreme Lord remains untouched by the material energy. Now, this is a very important point because there are some devotees, due to poor fund of knowledge or bad association or a little bit of maya, sometimes they conclude that Prabhupada was wrong on this, Prabhupada was wrong on that, or Prabhupada did not conform to the modern way of scientific knowledge or to the current social norms about marriage and women and this and that. No. We have to understand where this person is coming from. What is the status of such a person? Unless we understand this, there's guaranteed to be some nonsense ideas that are going to float around. And we have seen this. Now, I've seen that Govinda Dasi Mataji, a very nice senior devotee of Śrīla Prabhupada lady, she recently published, basically, that she published a little article in which she described that this biography of Śrīla Prabhupada contains so many mistakes, so many misunderstandings of Śrīla Prabhupada's position as an eternally liberated soul. And it's up to us. We've written an article which has been posted on our website, and everybody can see it at harekrishnasociety.org. And you can see our website there. There's numerous articles that explain this point. One of them is Lilamrita Review. And there are many important points the devotee should understand about the personality of Śrīla Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Yes, and it is a mystery, Bhaktajad, the science of Krishna consciousness. It's a mystery for the non-devotee especially. And we discussed this yesterday. It was very enlivening to hear all the information that relates to how to understand this mystery through oral reception. This also means through the careful study of the books of Śrīla Prabhupada, because the books are actually alive with dynamic transcendental knowledge. And people that taste it, they can appreciate it. Those people that don't study, it's because they have no taste, they have no desire, and they don't realize how wonderful the knowledge that we receive from the Vani incarnation of Śrīla Prabhupada sustains us in our spiritual life. That's what it does. For example, if you're feeling depressed, you might want to look for answers for your life. So you go to one of Prabhupada's books. You can open any page pretty much and start to read, and you feel some peace of mind, some transcendental bliss, some happiness from just hearing from the pure devotee, spiritual master. And Bhagavan was saying to me, oh, you should be a guru, Vishwa. You've been a devotee for so long. Well, Prabhu, what about Prabhupada living in his Vani incarnation as our Diksha Siksha Guru? We have a guru. Sure, we can help Prabhupada by presenting the philosophy that he's given to others and encourage them to read, to study what we're doing. But Diksha Guru, this is a mistake. We are the servants of the pure devotee spiritual master. And I wanted to ask Dharma Bhavana in Dallas, Texas, if he could further give an understanding of today's verse.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, today's class was a lot about becoming very convinced to the fall to the miseries of birth, death, old age, and disease. So he had a very philosophical class. But sometimes, personally, I'm also interested more like in time and drama, and sometimes even like the moon landing. Like, for example, in 1975 in Houston, they had a Back to Godhead article came out that had a lot of kind of information from a Vedic standpoint about the possibility of the moon landing. And we would distribute these and ask for donations for around in Webster, Texas, where NASA is, between Galveston and Houston. And so that was very interesting that even the possibility of the government pulling off some kind of a disinformation campaign to fool the people. So we always thought about that and how we all have such insufficient senses. We look at the moon and the sun, and it's much bigger than the earth, but it looks like a disc in the sky. So I was just kind of commenting on this, how sometimes we become very dependent upon different government scientific authorities, but somehow later on we found out that we weren't giving really the correct information. But if we look in the Vedas, always we find the proper information there about astronomy, biology, chemistry, and history. And so these are some of my comments I thought about. And also one, Prabhupada gave 3 explanations of what might have happened. And somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but this is what he said. They may have went to Rahu planet. They may have gone to the moon, but not Swargaloka. Or the whole thing could be kind of made up. And if somebody went to the moon but not Swargaloka, it could be compared to like going to Paris, France, and being stuck in the airport and not being able to see the Eiffel Tower and all the different parts of Paris. You really didn't experience Paris because you were stuck in the airport. So that was just some of my thoughts. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Yes, exactly. The moon landing has been a great hoax for the modern world. And Prabhupada did reveal it to us in his book, Easy Journey to Other Planets. And so we accept the authority of the spiritual master and the words that he speaks as truth. We're going to go to a few people that have raised their hands. We'll start with Bhaktivedanta in France, and then Krishna Kata in California, etc. Bhaktivedanta, yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you for wonderful class. And I really appreciated one point you just read, Vishwakarma Prabhu, about when we have some distress to read, when you open a book and you get relieved. And I wanted to share some purport given by Prabhupada. It's in the Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 15, verse 27. I really like it. And Prabhupada, he says, Arjuna wanted to remember the great teachings of the Bhagavad Gita, just to teach all concerned that the Gita can be consulted in all critical times, not only for solace from all kinds of mental agonies, but also for the way out of great entanglements which may embarrass one in some critical hour. this is very nice praising of Bhagavad Gita. And you just read and it's just fresh. You just come out from this ignorance and this Maya. And concerning this moon land issue, I really love this Hare Krishna society, because when Prabhupada says something, we just do not talk. We accept. Bas, finish. We didn't go to moon landing. Bas. And there is a great quote by Prabhupada. Just see. Prabhupada said, they have gone to moon planet, then our whole propaganda, Krishna consciousness, becomes bogus. So we cannot believe the two. Now in some devotees, oh, we went to the moon. Prabhupada was conditioned to think like this and that. No, if we go to moon, then Krishna consciousness is bogus. We cannot choose one or two. So this is one thing I wanted to say, that if Prabhupada says something, it is right. And if you think is wrong, you are wrong. So that thing I wanted to share. Hare Krishna.
Yes, thank you very much. Well spoken. And remember this, everyone. In the Vedic teachings, it's described that there are billions of universes within one universe, and there are billions of universes. And this is only a quarter of the creation of Krishna's work. So how significant are we, Mr. Mental Speculator Scientist? How smart do you really think in your bag of pus, stool, and urine? You fool amongst all fools. And soon the hand of death will come and sweep you away to never maybe take birth for millions of years in another human form. You're a fool. You're a rascal. You're deceiving everyone by your so-called science. You're completely lost in illusion. Krishna Katha, Prabhu. And then we've got Nilesh, I see there.
Hare Krishna, all glories to Śrīla Prabhupāda and this wonderful collection of sincere devotees and disciples of Śrīla Prabhupāda. A couple of quick points regarding the moon landing. You're correct, Vishwakarma, it is a hoax. I can relay a story that is very personal to me. I'll do it quickly. My father was a chief engineer and inspection engineer for the lunar landing module that it's called the descent engine, and it allegedly landed this LEM onto the moon. So it broke away from orbit and landed on the moon. So he worked on the motor. He was inspecting all the parts, and he came home one day and he was panicking and stressed out and angry. They've taken all my parts away. I had a whole list of at least 100 more parts that I needed to measure and inspect and sign off on.
Wow.
Yeah. And then suddenly we see all these, made up video and pictures of them landing on the moon and the famous, how do you say, step for mankind, all the speech stuff. And then the grand glory of congratulating where my father worked, which was TRW, which later became Northrop Hughes and then Northrop Grumman. They kept buying it out. Anyway, these pictures, these photographs of this whole landing were distributed to all the engineers, and my father brought them home.
Oh.
And he was looking at them with me. I was a young boy, and he's like, "What's this line in the back?" And he was very curious about, why is this line? Well, it turned out, he found out it was a stage. It was a Hollywood stage. It was a total Hollywood stage, and they didn't have Photoshop back then, so they couldn't get rid of this line. And here's where it became very telling. He comes home in the middle of the day. I'm in my room, and he says, "Where are those pictures? I need to bring them back. I'll lose my job if I don't bring them back." So I had them in my room. I gave them to him. And that night he explained that NASA visited, and they collected all the engineers' photographs that were distributed, because it was obvious that these photographs, to anyone that really studies them, can tell that this entire so-called triumph was completely staged, literally on a Hollywood stage, completely. And then of course he made it his next 10, 20 years of his life a mission to look at all the other conspiracies surrounding this. And so we know, based on why did they only bring back rocks, and why haven't they gone back, and why there's so many questions about it. I've accepted it based on Prabhupada's words and based on my personal experience with my father, that it's a hoax. It never happened. It's fake news. Never happened. Okay, so second point, in our verse today, the clear separation of one who is following the path of bhakti yoga, practicing what Prabhupada has given us through the disciplic line, the disciplic succession. He clearly makes a distinction between someone who is not acting on the bodily concept of life and someone who is acting on the bodily concept of life. It's a clear separation. Either you're one or the other in all your decision making. So this Bhagavan guy tells you, why aren't you being a guru? This is clearly a statement of someone who is still in the bodily concept of life. He clearly still has not realized that a physical warm body Diksha guru is not necessary. It is obvious to me that this current unauthorized, voted, elected system is just a repackaging of the unauthorized zonal Acharya system. It's just a repackaging. And all the other slight changes along the way over the last 40 years is still the bodily concept of life, because they'll say to you, you need a living guru. Well, that's not our teachings. They clearly haven't read the books or haven't absorbed and submissively heard the real message, how this movement is spread through Vani, through hearing, right?
Yes.
Oral reception. So he says, be a guru. It's like, oh, it's a fashion and a trend. I was once and now I'm not. You should be. It's all bodily concept of life. And this is my realization about the verse and what you commented about him. And I did read that post, by the way. Govinda Dasi is spot on. She clearly sees the truth about what's happening in our beloved spiritual masters movement right now. And it will turn around. Both you and Yaśodā know this, and you've spoken this many times. It's just a matter of the truth rising to the top, and it always does. It always does. So we just do our sadhana, we pray sincerely, we move forward each day with this wonderful group of devotees, and all these misguided souls will wake up and they will join us. They will realize that Śrīla Prabhupada is the true one and only Diksha Guru for this Kali Yuga on this planet. There'll be so many splinter groups, so many other movements, but the one true movement that is bona fide, the one that our spiritual master planted the seed, will go on nicely. And all these other people in their bodily concept of life, it's just clear that they're chasing after some kind of sense gratification on whatever subtle level or gross level. That's clear. They have a cushy position and they don't want to interrupt it. My question is, where are the Bhagavans, the Ramaswars, the Jaya Pataka? You can't really talk right now, but where are the Bhavanandas, the Hare and Hridayanandas? How come they haven't come and spoken to us about the truth about what really happened in 1977? Because they're hiding. They're hiding. They don't want to interrupt their cushy position. So how could they dare come forward and tell us the truth? Because they're attached. They're still in the bodily concept of life. Hare Krishna. All glories to Śrīla Prabhupada.
All glories to Prabhupada, and thank you very much. And just quickly before we move to Nilesh Sharma, the one reason why most people stay in a particular situation is due to compromise. This compromise is based on material comfort.
Yeah.
Because if you do not compromise, then you're rejected. For example, sometimes people will object to the position that they're in. Specifically in a spiritual movement, they may say, oh, well, I'm not really initiating people as my disciples. I'm initiating them as Prabhupada disciples. Now, if you do that in that society, then they come forward and they say, you're canceled. You're canceled. You can no longer initiate. And then all of a sudden, they change their mind. Oh, okay, they're my disciples. Why? Because they have a convenient situation. You know, they have a free apartment. They have free air travel. And by the way, in the guru business, when you exploit people for their religious fervor, then eventually you take their money. So they amass huge amounts of private money in their bank accounts, because it's quite easy for someone to have $1 million. Nowadays it is. I mean, lots of my friends are multimillionaires. Some of them are hundreds of millions. So money does come to people. What do you do with it when you die? Well, you give it to your guru. Ow. So you give it to this bogus guru. They can amass millions and millions of dollars because they're private bank accounts. And they think, oh, well, I'll be protected that way. So compromise is a situation that exists for people in institutions in order to maintain their status and their comfortable living. Nilesh Sharma, there'll be a last comment today and we'll move forward with the kirtan. Nilesh
Hare
Sharma
Krishna.
in Fort Lauderdale, Miami.
Hare Krishna. Jai Śrīla Prabhupāda.
Haribol.
Very interesting discussion which I was a part of.
Yes.
Several things come to my mind. In fact, there is a known documentary, if you want to watch, I just put the link in the chat, about the fake moon landing. The name of that documentary is A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon. So if those who are interested, you can kind of look into that. And I think that documentary is also available on Netflix. So many a times, especially if there is a newcomer in our group, what Bhakta Jad said, what Krishna Katha Prabhu says, what you say, Vishwakarma Prabhu, may come out as if it's fanatic, oh, we accept only what Prabhupada says and all that. But there is a reason behind this, which we have to understand. It is not a fanatical viewpoint, but it is a conclusion which has come to after evaluating many parts. And this is one of the many jigsaw puzzles. Like, for example, not only just the fake moon landing, but how many times have we been taken for a ride by the so-called scientists? Why talk about anything different? Let's talk about the COVID and its epidemic and the vaccines associated with the COVID. You see, now we see the whole unearthing of the entire conspiracy which has been launched in this whole process.
Yes.
If we were to go a little bit backwards and we talk about the food, like when we were eating everything organic, when we were eating everything which was naturally grown without any pesticides, they said, no, we need to use pesticides to kill all the bugs so we can increase production. And if we increase production, then there will be no, hunger and everything. And that led to from naturally grown to something which is now very prevalent, which we call as hydroponics, where all our vegetables are grown hydroponically. Nothing is grown naturally. When was the last time you picked up a potato and you found the skin having mud on it? Because it is not grown underground. It is grown hydroponically. And all the results, which is the causes of all the cancer and everything which is coming about is because we're not eating natural foodstuffs. Let's talk about even what Prabhupada tells us is that when once upon a time we talked like cow dung. Cow dung was considered an excreta of the cow. And how can that be antiseptic? Of course, the so-called scientists poo-pooed it at that particular time, but then comes Louis Pasteur and the Louis Pasteur Institute and does all the research work on the cow dung. And now we realize that cow dung does have antiseptic properties. Gomutra, which is the urine of the cow, does have antiseptic properties, provided the cow is not subjected to the growth hormones and the antibiotics, which we laid her with right now, just to increase the cow production, the milk production, and things like that. So we have been repeatedly misled by these so-called scientists out of vested interest. What are they after? Large bank accounts. Now, how are they different than the so-called fake gurus? The scientists want to line their bank accounts, so do the fake gurus. And Prabhupada tells us very clear, Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na sochati na kanchati samasta sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labhate param. Somebody who is already on the Brahma Bhuta platform, who is on the transcendental platform, there is nothing, I repeat, nothing material which can outweigh or give them more happiness than what can be given at the transcendental realm. So if somebody is busy trying to get your money, somebody is busy trying to get your attention, your adoration, your praise, your worship, they are not worthy of it. Why? Because they are still on a Brahma, they are not on the transcendental platform. And if they are not on the transcendental platform, how can they lead you to the transcendental platform? So everything of this is whatever we are talking is all connected. And I would beg anybody who is a little skeptical that we have come to this conclusion. Bhakta Jad has come to this conclusion through repeated frustration from following the so-called unauthorized authorities and going about in that. So be careful who you accept as authority. Question it, observe, and then apply it. And when you do that, you will come to the same conclusion as what we have come over here to and what Bhakta Jat comes to the conclusion. Follow Prabhupada and it will be the end of all your frustrations. Hare Krishna.
Glories to Prabhupada. Thank you very much. And thank you, everyone,
Very nice.
for being a part of today's reading and discussion and our panel of devotees that have been sharing their insights for our benefit. And this week is another week. We'll be starting tomorrow. Another opportunity to chant your 16 rounds, Mukesh Sharma, every day without fail. Another opportunity to read Prabhupada's books. Yaśodā-nandana was saying we should try to read, Prabhupada said, one chapter of the Gita every day. Well, the Gita is fairly lengthy, and I'm undertaking to read as much as I can, Krishna Katha, moving forward with the Gita. It's a very exciting journey again for myself to read it, and it's ever fresh, very insightful and illuminating, forcing open my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. Thank you very much, Śrīla Prabhupāda. And all of us to work forward and present Krishna consciousness to other people as much as we can in our areas, distribute prasadam, and help others become fixed up in some understanding of why they were born, why they're here, and where they're going at the time of death. So this is the greatest welfare work, Mukesh. And if all of us individually do this, this will be a great thing. You wanted to say something. Go ahead, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Guruji, Hare
Yes.
Krishna.
Yes.
Just thank you. I just want to thank you that somehow I found the link, and I was struggling with my mental health, and I was struggling with thought process and with my mental health. But after listening to your your conversation on the Gita, Bhagavad Gita, and I'm really feeling a bit somewhat well. And I do like to more. I would like to more. You should like give us more on mental health, and I will be recover more sooner. And I just want to appreciate on that one. That thank you. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome, Mukesh. You just keep going. Don't stop. Just keep coming to the classes. It'll all manifest. And chant your rounds, and you'll be fine. Don't worry. Everything is good. You're in the right association, and you're on the right mission with us, and you'll learn step by step how to progress in your own life. And this is our goal, is to help people do that. And this is our greatest happiness. So thank you again. And thank everyone who has attended today once again, our program. Our numbers are steady, and they will grow in due course of time, because the truth cannot be stopped. And this mission of the Hare Krishna Society and the Prabhupada Disciples Association has been launched by us together. We are the pioneers of this, Bhaktajad. We are truly the pioneers in this mission to protect Prabhupada's legacy and preach the message of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu according to how he taught us. All glories to Śrīla Prabhupada. All glories to the Sankirtan movement. Let's move forward, chant along with Śrīla Prabhupada as he sings Hare Krishna, playing the bongo back in the 60s, and unify ourselves with him in his mission. Haribol. Rupesh, put up the kirtan.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Audio, Vishwakarma.
Vishwa,
Let us
you're
offer, let's offer our respectful obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavenibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. All glories to the Sankirtan mission of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Let's move to the ending, Rupesh. Thank you.
Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnava Vangsha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathannitam Tam Sajivam Sadaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya